Sup, my fellas, don't forget to leave feedback, and enjoy the story. The game Dantalian, in virtual reality, in the genre of roguelike. Elements of the game are randomly generated each time, which causes even more awe from the high degree of difficulty, and the sense of reality that could be felt with the help of virtual space. The whole world was in awe of this game, at the same time the figure of 3 million users on the network. I was pointing out its worldwide popularity, but one day a strange message appeared in the game. Syncing of the user's characters is underway. The players didn't understand what was going on and were concerned their bodies were pierced by red rays. The characters and players were dead, and the game was over. Everyone screamed in terrible pain. All the players were in some kind of capsules. One by one the corpses of users began to appear. All players who ignored the system's warning died. It started simultaneously all over the world. Everyone connected with this game also died a strange death from cardiac arrest. The experts couldn't offer any solution to the problem. There was only one way to put an end to it. This is to pass the 72nd floor in the game Dantalian. However, this level was too difficult, and no one could pass it, as if it was meant to be so. The little sister of the heroes is stuck inside the game in the same capsule. He has no other choice. He will pass this game and get her out of there. He had to save his sister. The guy plunged into this game world. All settings were completed. He chose the monk class. User Yun Ti-yong logged into the game. He opened his eyes and stood in the middle of a desolate place. He didn't know where to start, but it still looks very simple. There was a girl standing in front of him, and she knew that he would choose such an image. This is BJ's manager Hyun-Hai, who joined the user's broadcast. She was a friend for the hero, and she also plays the role of an assistant who gives the hero various hints during the broadcast. He asked her why she goes on stream in such clothes, but what is wrong with her is the reaction to donations. Why did this girl not change? Even earlier she was very angry because the guy fantasized not very decently. But that's how she's always conducted her streams. Unless the guy said something, only he can see it in the game. It can't influence the game directly, but it can act as a browser. He told the girl that she only needed to remember one thing. Even now BLM was still waiting for them. Hero, monk, first level divine power. Next, we see a certain cube. It asks the player, someone like that, are there still psychos who enter this game? After all, if you enter it in me, you will die in real life. Is it true? This player, or something, decided to die. All these users were cubes. They were indignant and also worried about the player. It only annoyed him. If he wants to be the first to pass the game, he will need help. There are too many random settings in this game. The girl will not be able to keep track of everything. These guys might be noisy, but they'll be a bit of a navigator for him. The player said hello to everyone. They noticed that it was BJ Hyun-Hai's voice and really similar. She is familiar with this gamer. He greeted the audience and told them to follow him to the end. Everyone was laughing and protesting that he was going to check the traffic now. It has a fairly fast reaction time, which is very different from that sinking game. The guy thinks that there will be no special problems. All the observers of the same team admired his movements, even began to assume that this was a ranker from another game. He's so surprised by the moves in the first round, but in reality they're useless. Well, this is the same stage. This is the most difficult stage among the initial ones. This player will just finish playing and die. The guy looked at them with displeasure. This stage is really terrible. So the strongest of all the monsters of the first stage, the cursed skeletons, appeared. Cursed skeletons, their evil aura contained in the tower penetrates the bones of deceased players and revives their skeletons. During an attack, the curse effect is activated. All the viewers thought that this was the end or both. How can a novice handle all this alone? This will definitely be a failure. Not only are skeletons cursed, but usually such opponents can be defeated in a team of 3 or 4 players. You cannot let them hit you because their attacks impose curses in the effect. The girl should not worry so much about the hero. He has everything under control. Well, what's the matter? He got ready, thought it would be difficult, but there is nothing special about them. Their hero won. How his hands are burning. This is 99% synchronization. The observers were shocked. He is really capable. Maybe this is not even a beginner. The Keeper of Fools was indignant. Because this fool will soon die here, he answers to everyone. The hero remembered his username Keeper of Fools. If the guy blows them all up and gets out of here, he'll find him and answer. The guy attacked. There were a huge number of these skeletons, but one by one he managed to win. It was like lightning striking them all as it ran. The players were shocked. This is an amazing game. He ran through them and left a glowing trail of speed. He managed to get to the 2nd level, and how many of these levels are there in total? The first floor of the Tower of the Dead is up to the 3rd level, but why is it so small? He must quickly clear everything here and go further. Everyone was watching this hero destroy everything in his path. He has to constantly listen to this chatter of the audience, right? It's best for him not to relax, the girl replied. Some say that in the Tower of the Dead, the 2nd level is considered the most difficult. Skeletons started coming out at him with sabers, but he can hear the roar their armed skeletons. They are the dead bodies of armed hunters. The attack power is 5 times higher than that of normal skeletons. Everyone began to be indignant, but this player was unlucky enough to get as many as this on the 2nd level. They usually appear as a monster boss on the 3rd level, so why are they here all of a sudden? The girl said that they should retreat and come back later, as they should at least come up with an attack tactic. Why would she go there too? He was an experienced player after all. If he was worried about them coming out with swords, what would happen to his reputation? Then immediately everyone changed their minds and said that he would go to the other world again. Perhaps if he reacted the way he usually did, this game might seem too difficult for him. But right now, the synchronization rate was very high. It feels like the reaction speed has doubled. When compared to the ones he fought in the games before, the speed of these skeletons is like that of a turtle. The guy stepped into the attack, first grazed one, then the second, and so they all grappled. Once again, it was like a lightning bolt flying past them. Everyone started admiring how he did it again, his amazing physique. It didn't look like he was exerting much effort in a battle with armed skeletons. The crazy girl, of course, knew that he was a good player, but I didn't think that he would fight so perfectly with an armed opponent. The guy skipped past everyone and ran to the door, because all you have to do is go up there, and that's it. He tried to run in there, it was easy for him, but when he entered there, he saw a huge skeleton. Giant skeleton, not a single hit until the 2nd level. This is a hidden boss. It appears if you enter the boss room within 10 minutes. He is a strong player during his lifetime, who turned into an outsider. Until now, there is not a single case of passing this monster. This evil thing woke up and started to get back on its feet. No one even saw such a monster. Now the guy has finished playing, they commented. Hidden. What does this mean? The guy didn't understand. Why is he so cocky? The girl was indignant, but he only asked, what is this? This is a giant skeleton, the boss monster of the skeleton tower, which no one has ever managed to destroy before. She thought it was just a rumor, and why did it appear in his first game? Well, the guy immediately bounced off something. It was the monster's kick. The level of evil spirits is much higher than all the others. You need to keep in mind the map features when he evades. This monster is really very much noticed by the guy, and she says that he is different from those weaklings. Of course, he does not know what kind of monster it is, but he is ready to fight properly. The boss stepped on the attack, the guy defended and dodged, but the guy landed several blows at once. The girl warned the guy that there were pillars that collapsed. He saw it all and thanked her. The giant did not stop attacking, and the guy beat him. He slipped between his legs to his back. For such big guys, he has a special technique. It's a kick to the legs. If such a big monster loses its balance, it's the end of them. In addition, and finally, a crushing blow at high speed. This is the best decision, the finish line. The players also remembered this technique, an old war game. This is the same one who won 5 years in a row, the strongest of the strongest. The giant of the Shinken, Yun Ti-yong, fell to the ground like a skeleton, and the guy was twirling his head on his finger. Now he understood what was going on. Everyone was shocked. It's just unrealistic. There were a lot of comments. The guy left this head and went to the next door. He boiled it and went inside. A certain person was standing there, and when the guy came in, he chuckled. The hero immediately stepped on the attack, but the latter stopped it with a single movement of his hand. He was waiting for the player Yun Ti-yong. Who is this man? In Dara, we see a certain battle, the final battle of the King of the Fist, which ended with his signature move and complete victory. We see the arena in the middle of an unprecedented result, 5 consecutive wins from our hero. Ti-yong won again. The guy is the King of Fist champion. Although this game has already lost popularity, it used to be at its peak. We see him standing on the street in the middle of a noisy street and calling someone with a cup in his hands. The subscriber was temporarily unavailable. He could leave his message after the signal. He called his sister. Once again, she was playing Dantalian, a virtual roguelike game, a way out of a fantastic maze. Synchronization connecting to the virtual reality body is almost 100%. Not a single duplicate item even after hundreds or thousands of game attempts. Gamers all over the world are excited about the advanced technology of this game, as I am about the game King of Fist, which did not until recently occupy the first places in the rating. And the strangest thing is that for 5 years many users have tried to play this game, but no one has passed it to the end. Is she really so interesting? The guy thought. We see the house on fire, and the boy is very worried, holding his sister next to him. They'd lost their parents when they were little, so they'd been relying on each other ever since. Perhaps the guy could not fulfill their loss by himself, so the girl became very fond of virtual games. However, he believed that someday his sister would overcome this grief and open her heart to him. After all, she really is a very strong person. She wrote to the guy that she won today. He suggested that he could buy her something delicious. He came around the corner and was walking home when something blinded him. It was the full-screen news of the house of 20 million dead in the virtual game Dantalian. It was breaking news for the entire city. What the hell? the guy understand. A fatal system error occurred in the virtual game, which claimed the lives of many users, and an emergency situation was declared all over the world. Currently, there are about 300 million people online. It's the same game his sister plays. The woman in the screen repeated again as a result of a fatal system error, a lot of people died. Hai called the guy, asked him to come to his sister right away, and he threw down his cup and ran home as fast as he could. He ran to the house and went inside, immediately opened the door. My sister was lying in a cocoon and was still alive. Her physical indicators were normal, so far everything is fine with her. The guy and the girl calmed down. The governments of different countries have blocked the download of this game. Currently there are 300 million users on the network. As a result of the search for those associated with this game, the chairman of the company was found missing and the director was found dead. Everyone had to immediately exit the game in case of death. In this world there would be a fatal outcome in the real world. Due to an error, the pain control system is not possible. You must immediately leave the game and evacuate to a safe place. The government is taking all necessary measures. Streamers of this game transmit the news to the real world. In the game itself, there is a high probability that the girl, the hero's sister, is also with them, so do not worry. The guys shared on which floors it is located and what threatens them. Someone said, "Don't worry, this is the Messiah who will pass Dantalian and save all the players." This was said by a certain man. Is there any way to get the girl out of there? There is, but only if you pass the game to the very end. Rules of the virtual game. 0. This is after completing all levels. The exit is automatic. First, there are no restrictions on the passage of the game. Second, all creatures that are inside the maze can be killed. The 0 rule is the most important one. When there were no problems in the game yet, this point didn't make much sense. Well, after users got stuck inside, this rule took on a completely different meaning. If the developer made up the rules from the very beginning with this situation in mind, this may mean that this is how it was intended. The girl heard that there are rankers among the stuck users, so you need to wait until they pass all the levels. The best score in the game is the 50th floor. The guy exhaled. He should go there in person. The girl was indignant. Is he crazy? All the people tried to pass it, but no one could, so he should try. He won 5 times in a row and the king of the fist. Who knows virtual games better than him? There is simply no such thing. But that only concerned the game. Why was he so sure that he still had this girl in this one, too? She had reached the 31st floor in an unsafe game. She was a streamer, and not a stupid one at that, but also a childhood friend of his, and a man who loves his sister as much as the hero himself. She will agree, but in return, he will have to start broadcasting so that she can help him. The hero agreed and suddenly got angry. He will blow this game to smithereens. The guy fit into the capsule of the virtual world. With it, you can get into the virtual world of the game. The capsule scans the user's physical data to create an optimal environment. It is also possible to use the massage function and supply nutrients in case of prolonged lying down. The guy's capsule was the latest model with advanced features. And we're back to that man again. He's the demon king of the 71st rank, who is in charge of the 1st to 3rd floor of Dantalian. It's an ever-changing game. He held the hero's hand. The guy had exerted enough strength, and he had caught a whole fist with one hand. Who was this man? As he already understood, the player has a lot of questions. Who he is, why people are stuck in the game, and so on. The man can only say one thing. All the answers to the questions are at the very top. Let him climb into the maze, do everything he can in the most desperate state. With pain groans, shedding sweat and blood, it is possible that on the way he will find what he is looking for. The young man was angry because this man is clearly hinting at his sister. He rushed, stepped on the attack, but the girl tried to stop him. Otherwise he will not be able to pass the game. You need to calm down. The man snapped his fingers, and huge doors of different colors appeared. The guy passed the 1st floor of the maze. These 3 doors lead to the next level. For each of them there is a different test. It is not known which of these tests will be more difficult. But what are these 3 doors? If you think about it, the girl said, even in the basic system of the game there is no explanation. She will try to tell you in simple language. In this game, there are 72 floors of the maze. He will pass the game when he gets to the very top. After completing each level, he can choose a door. This is 3 doors. Blue color is an enhancement. You can pass to the next level if the indicators are slightly higher. The boost effect is limited to the next floor. Green color, this is recovery. Here you can heal all the wounds received on the previous floors and go to the next one. And the last color is yellow, a golden blessing if you pass the next floor for this color. As a reward, you can get gold coins. Gold is maze money that can be used at transit points. You just need to give the gold to the merchant and purchase a map of the equipment item on this all. After purchasing equipment, he gets a synergy effect. The reason why players don't choose the golden door is very simple. If they lose on the next floor, no gold coins will help them anymore. It's better to choose reinforcement or healing than an unknown future. The man asked, strengthening, restoring gold, which door will the player choose? The girl reminded Poe that as soon as the door was opened, the next battle would begin. He understood this and took a step forward and also opened the golden door. Everyone watching was shocked. Did he choose gold? This is just a gain and recovery does not remain, and the gold will remain with him. The guy went inside, looked around, it was dark. On the door was written, the first tower of the dead, he must destroy the skeletons and climb to the top of the tower. Achievements include lone player, perfect player, and clearing the tower of the dead. Someone in the comments laughed, and someone said that at this rate on the 6th floor, he will already have 18 achievements. The hero did not understand whether this was good or bad, but she had already explained everything to him. Let him open the stats. There were 3 more achievements in the game. There is no system of characteristics. Achievements are important here. Strength, health, mana control, agility. The more achievements, the more physical abilities the character has. Although there is not much difference between the first and second or third achievements, when they accumulate, there will be 10 or 20, then the difference will be greater. This can already be seen as the difference between a child and an adult. His body became a little lighter, that's what changed. Suddenly the monster's hands and eyes appeared in front of him. He was sorting something in his paws. What is this gloomy loony? This is not a game character randomly generated by the game. He tossed the dice in his hand and then threw them to the guys. A maze and a key fell out and he entered the stage. The walls were beginning to brighten and everything was falling into place. There were a lot of monsters in cages around. They were shouting loudly. Someone said before the game, turn down the speakers. The guy's head was splitting. Then other monsters noticed him and thought he was an escaped monster. His task was to find the keys, open the doors and enter the maze. It was only half an hour and he was being chased, so he started to run. Everyone asked for his release. He apparently decided to run away alone. The monsters were indignant. There is nothing complicated in clearing the maze prison stage. You need to free several prisoners who will fight with the guards. Meanwhile, he must find the key in the entrance to the maze. The problem is that they don't know which of the prisoners will agree to help them, the girls thought. Suddenly, while running, she noticed a wounded girl on the wall. She found it. The girl was unconscious. The guy had to collect all the keys on the floor and release the prisoner on the right. He suddenly stopped when the girl pulled his hair, but he didn't understand. What does she say about that girl on the wall? That's right, but why were there so many keys? She yelled at him to do everything faster. The monsters were getting closer. The evil spirits were already very close, pointing their weapons at the guy. He did it. He opened it. Was he really too late after all? But suddenly, when the weapon was in front of his head, someone stopped it and beat it off. It was the same imprisoned girl. It pierced the monster's weapon through the scum themselves. She is a non-player character, and there are 2 types of non-player characters in the game. Battle characters from Changchun, fantasy characters from Eden. Non-game characters are the most important elements of this game. They are just like the players involved in the game. You can use them to climb all the way to the top of the maze floor, and they will help you in everything. All the monsters were defeated, and the girl calmly stood with the keys in her hands. She took off her handcuffs and was free. The guy whispered with a friend, is it sure if she will help them? The girl introduced herself and said that she was in the first order of chivalry of the Kingdom of Tube. She bowed at the boy's feet and said that she was the leader of the Central Order of Icardi. The guy was a little shocked that she was on her knees. The girl thanked him for saving her and her little sister, whose name was Ruddy. In addition, such a small girl, if the hero allows you to take your sister with you, she will help him get out of here. The guy didn't care as long as he got out of this place. But it is worth waiting. If they go this way, it will not meet the allotted time. The girl knows the shortcut and said to follow her. This little girl knows the hidden path. Wow, what an interaction. Even a streamer sees this for the first time. Along the way, they met monsters. A girl and a guy fought with them, and his girlfriend told them where to go better. The guy was already wondering when this exit would appear around the right turn. As soon as they got there, they saw a bunch of smoking monsters. The guy quickly apologized and ran away from there. A girl came in and said that she would deal with all of them. She took out her weapons and activated her skills. The girl used a decapitating wolf. It attacked all the monsters and chopped off their heads, and they had to hurry, she told the others. What this girl just did, the player wondered, was an NPC with skills. Along with the skill cards, there was only one technique supported in the game. If virtual reality was able to reproduce the movement with a high level of skill, this could be materialized in skills. The little girl pointed to the exit. Well, what is it? You need 3 keys here. They stopped, and when they realized they didn't have the keys, there was a sudden commotion behind them. It was someone very huge, stepping on those monsters with its feet. He yelled at the fugitives to give up before it was too late. If they gave up, the monster would let them live. The girl was trying to pick up the keys, and the guy and the girl were ready to fight. If the guys fall into the monster's hands, he will treat them as before. Suddenly, the girl was very scared. Her hands were already shaking. The hero told her to relax and take her time. Just let her think that this is her bedroom at home, and he will take this monster on himself. The girl agreed and continued to search for the keys. Only 2 minutes left to get out of here. A rat got into the prison. The guard noticed and swung his fist at him because it was him, the player. While the monster was punching and smashing down the walls of the cells, the guy just ran back and the monster couldn't catch up with him. Although this monster is strong, it's just swinging its fists. That girl had moved in a completely different way during the fight. He asked the girl if he could repeat the same cool moves as her. You can't just activate the V skill, she explained to the guy, because she had already explained about the skill level. It is the hero who has already done this so many times in the game of the King of Fists. A high-level skill movement he needs to focus on. He had to focus on absolutely every step he took. It was a trick from another game, she realized. He stepped on the attack and activated the Transcendent Supremacy skill, as well as the Maelstrom, the Dantalian version. The guy's punch pierced the monster and it shattered into pieces. Did he succeed in getting the guy to activate the skill so easily? The monster fell to the ground, everyone in the comments admired, and someone did not understand what was happening. The girl opened the door at this time and shouted to everyone to run out. So they should get out of here soon, there's only 3 seconds left. Girls and heroes managed to rush through the door. Maze prison, search for keys and open the door to enter the maze has been completed. He received the new achievements of the Eye of Choice, Ren Jun Lu Bu, and clearing the maze prison. And he also added 13 gold. The boys were on the verge of death. Everyone in the comments is already shaking. They were shocked. A girl approached the guy. She bowed down like her sister and thanked him for saving her. The guy introduced himself by his first name, and she thanked him for such a noble deed. She would sacrifice her life for him, give her word as the leader of the Night Order. He can climb the tower together with the girl and other NPCs that he meets on the floors. A friend said to him. Suddenly a girl took the boy by the hand. She expressed gratitude to him. He remembered how his little sister did the same. Today it was fun. They went for a walk back then. Tomorrow they will play again. He recalled moments from his childhood. The guy thought about it and said that it was better for them not to follow him. It wouldn't do any good. The guy turned around and began to deny that it would only get in the way. They had better go their own way. Commentators didn't understand why he refused to help. The girls entered through the green door. They would be able to help themselves. And the guy can handle it on his own. He opened the golden door again. There was a girl inside. The room was in red. How much longer would he stand in front of the door? She asked. The bored queen, Agnella, is tired of everything. Why doesn't he come in? The guy will have to satisfy the whims of the queen. The level with this queen, the girl also once passed this level. The task was simply to satisfy her whims. All the players have tried to do this, but the problem is with her. She got bored with everything and ordered players to kill each other. This girl wasn't satisfied with anything. Whatever the players did, she didn't like it, and it usually ended in a battle royale. No need to waste any time here, the guy said, and knocked for some reason. Maybe we just need to fight the queen herself. Well, this character wasn't created to fight the queen is too strong, because this is already the 3rd floor. Just like the guy remembered, he can feel the flu and the fear that it emits. This floor is different from all the previous ones. There's also something hidden here, but what? The girl did not understand how long the guy would stand in the doorway. Let him come to her. There is one method that is worth trying. The girl did not understand what this method was, but she believes it, right? The guy walked up to the queen lying on the bed and sat down next to her. She thought it was quite a cute boy and reached out to him. What does a guy do? Why does he kiss her? Is this really his way? The girl was indignant and asked to go down immediately. Commentators were shocked by this decision. The girl started shouting that she would tell his sister everything. Whether this is happening in reality and how can this be shown in the stream. If the guy makes even one more move, the girl will not look at him. The guy was reaching for the girl's lips, but suddenly made a deft move and grabbed her neck. If the queen moves, this succubus will die. He knew it wasn't the real queen. A real disgruntled dog here. But as the guy had guessed before, it looked too weak compared to the strength that the guy felt. And the dog looked much stronger than the girl herself, and when he got closer, he saw the name tag around her neck. Why is this girl named so she has no rights? The audience said that it was immediately obvious that the girl was jealous of the guy to her. But she did not tolerate it and banned such players. If the dog wants to see how the head of this girl will fly off, then let him try to fight with the guy. The monster stood still and tried to do nothing so as not to harm his girlfriend. The hero tried to see if this method would work, apparently, but the doggy shrank when the girl started talking to him. He became a cute little dog and asked not to touch her. If the guy lets this girl go, will the queen be satisfied? Of course he would, she said. If he let this girl live, she would be content. The bored queen is tired of everything, and he also has to satisfy her whims. When he did so, the level was passed. The guy went out through the door. It was dangerous. If he fought with her, he might die. The dog at that time lay and cried with his ward. Why did the girl look so sulky? He asked her. Suddenly they were met again by the man who hadn't laughed like that in a long time. Wow, the hero found a way to satisfy this queen. The guy again received new achievements of the Queen's Blackmailer, a wise decision, and a bored Queen passed. He also added gold. The guy has passed all 3 floors that the man has prepared for him. Finally, it's the turn of that very floor. Let the guy look forward to the next tests. There's only one door in front of him this time, you just have to go in there, right? Yes, the man confirmed, there's only one door on every 3rd floor, so there's nothing to think about. And then there will be a recreation area for him. Let the hero look forward to it. There, he will be able to meet with NPCs who helped him during the game and other players. How does the guy think the girl will be here or not? His sister had already entered the game a long time ago. It was possible that she was even higher, so they would look for her just in case. He asked his sister to wait a little longer. He would be faster than the others to climb to the top of the tower and come to her. The guy went to the door and stood on the step in front of it. This is his assessment sheet, which was compiled by the Demon King in charge of the floors. The man evaluates how interesting the behavior and actions were. This is the Dantalian rating sheet. Quite an unusual hobby. There are levels from A to E. If he gets a rank, he will be given 50 gold. The man appreciated his amazing sense of combat skill, as if he had entered a maze dozens of times. As well as meeting all of the man's expectations, he couldn't contain his emotions and hoped that his selfless performance would make the man's lips turn up at the corners. The guy received an S rank and a reward of as much as 100 gold. He didn't understand what this rank meant. Stunned girl watched, it's just unreal. Then we see other people, so what happens? Who draws the cards? There's some crazy guy on the 3rd floor who's pulling out cards, isn't there? The guy threw his coins and asked for another card. The shop assistant was shocked by the amount of gold. Everyone in the store looked at who this guy was. Even the players on the stream were uncomfortable with this guest coming down the stairs. The man is conducting himself. It was a girl who had received a full 100 coins from him. Her name was Letta and she works in a store. The girl recognized the abilities of this player. I opened a secret card shop. The guys behind us didn't even know there were such cards. She laid them out and told the guy to try turning them over. And if he can't see it alone, it's just impossible. This is dangerous. The streamer was indignant. The appetite comes during a meal. When a person sees an interesting thing, he wants to eat it. It's human nature for demons to show players valuable rewards in order to make them feel greedy. They want to make the players fight fiercely for this reward. The guy turned the cards over. This is a rare card, level R, not rare. Everyone was shocked, because rare items fall out with a probability of 5% even in the recreation area of the 3rd floor. Commentators were outraged and did not understand what was happening. And now a little bit about the order of ranked cards in the game. First comes normal, then unusual, rare, unique, legendary. Cards of normal rank have one type of experience indicator, while skills and equipment are at the usual level. An unusual card has 2 types of experience indicators, equipment and skills of an unusual level. A rare card has 3 types of experience indicators, a rare level of equipment, and skills. The guys didn't know what to choose. Everyone didn't argue in the comments, and the guy asked them to keep quiet. No one understood that it was necessary to choose a monk's belt and achieve divine synergy. The guy also thought that synergy would be better. The game has a synergy system, which affects all equipment and the additional effect of the skill card. If you collect a certain amount of synergy, you can get a buff. The greater the synergy of one type, the greater the effect. In this case, the guy will not choose a belt with a monk. The girl asked him again if he chose this particular card, and he confirmed it. The guy immediately used this skill. The whole house was pierced by blue rays, and the same belt appeared on it. Everyone at the tables was looking at him. What disturbing looks, how good that it's impossible to fight in the recreation area. He was going to have trouble starting tomorrow, and he knew it. The player has entered the inn, and his sister isn't here either. He explained to his girlfriend that he needed to rest. He was probably tired. She would turn off the broadcast, and he would get some sleep. Commenters asked me not to turn it off, but I left the chat and began to rest. Even in the game you need to sleep. This is a terrible game. The guy was indignant. He remembered the moment when everything was on fire and he was calling for Dad's help, but no one could get out of there. There were still people inside, but others couldn't help them. Everything was on fire. The father trusted his son and believed that he would take care of his sister. Suddenly the player woke up from this nightmare. He was covered in sweat. Such a realistic dream. This is just a terrible game. The girl again entered the chat. He left the hotel. She asked how the guy was feeling. Very well, he told her, but when he came down, there were people inside and I asked if he would like to join them. They will go with him. People will provide everything you need. They want to know how he managed to get so much gold. It's better to let him go to them. Another grandfather suggested. People argued for the opportunity to go with him. The guy began to resent what all this is in the recreation area. You can hire your own NPCs to complete levels together. The better the skills, the higher the competition. The girl explained to him he didn't need anything. The guy turned around and left. There is no one he can trust, he will go without a team, it doesn't matter. The guy again stood in front of the door, and people began to run after him because they can go through this door with him. The player has completed the entrance to the 4th floor. He found himself in the middle of a forest where people were also standing. There was a lot of nature around. Other players were looking at him, some of them had tattoos, and others just looked terrible. The Demon King who is responsible for the 4th, 5th, and 6th floors is Andromelia. She spied on all the players. Their task in this forest is very simple: find the beads. Everyone needed to collect 3 beads. The girl was wearing a green dress as well as a snake tattoo. And now a little bit about the recreation area. After every 3 floors there is a recreation area. This is a place where you can change your equipment and rest before entering the next Demon King stage. Players who were separated can meet again in the recreation area, where you can buy cards from the NPC merchant and change equipment. The girl looked at all the players, all sorts of brats gathered. Okay, so it's even more interesting for her. She explained again that they would need to collect 3 beads. The players didn't understand if this was all an explanation. What kind of beads were there anyway? A man started shouting, "Why is she explaining so badly? Shouldn't she explain so they can get it?" The girl looked at him angrily, and the guy was bitten by a snake. He died on the spot. The players were afraid. They are still dissatisfied, and she asked if not, they should move. Watching them stand there is too boring for her. In short, they should bring her 3 beads, then she will let them pass to the next stage. Naturally, the more they found of these beads, the better it would be for them. At least this girl suggested a way and where to go. Now people were outraged. The guy also did not understand what kind of game without a tutorial. A friend flew up to him and told him to trust, just follow her. The guy was running as fast as he could. The peculiarity of the game was that unlike the NPCs, who knew absolutely nothing about the game, the hero had information from other players who had played the game hundreds or thousands of times. They shared their knowledge and experience about levels, thanks to which the guy had an idea how to pass them. He was in a good position, and the girl was telling him where to run. The task of this floor was to collect hidden beads in the forest and bring them to the queen, who was in the center of the clearing. These beads could be found in creatures that live in the forest. They could hang on trees, or be buried deep in the ground. The stronger the beasts, or higher the tree, the more likely they were to have the beads. The most important thing is to act quickly. The number of beads was also limited towards the end. Some NPCs no longer tried to search for them. They were just killing each other to take it away, so we need to pass this level faster before the massacre begins. The hero understood. The players were indignant as to why they were looking for the bead, but just running somewhere. The guy stopped at a tree. It's definitely the biggest tree in this forest, that's it. The guys in the comments still didn't understand. Did he want to die? The user had donated 10,000 won for 1 bite. The snake cave was not far from the roots at a depth of 20 meters. He asked the player to kill this snake without fail. It seems that he was once eaten by this snake. Other commentators laughed. But the player needed to find Aksharan's tracks there, and there would be an entrance to the cave. The girl asked him to wait and started looking for it herself. It's underground. There is such a soil here. He believes that the guy will be able to break through it. What is he going to do? The guy hit his foot on the ground and it cracked. He flew down with the girl. Did he have such skills? She asked. You can't call it a skill, just tried what he had in the last game, it turns out, and then it worked. This is called the level change system. If you break through the ground and go down, the levels automatically change. He has the strength, so he doesn't have to be smart, the girls thought. It was quite spacious inside, but there's no one alive inside. It's just that there's only one snake living in this cave. The more space and the stronger the beast, the more likely it is to find the beads, so they are here. In the monster boss cave of this level is the huge snake Aksharan. The snake is not active during the day, so this is his chance to find the beads. But suddenly, other players came down for the guy. How did he quickly find it? These were the same guys from the recreation area. The girl said that these people were following them in the recreation area, but why were they late? The hero looked at them. What happens to them? If you look closely, they are some strange, like zombies. Is this mind control magic? The guy thought, it's only natural that people listen to those who are stronger. It was he who created this army using an artifact, using magic tentacles to control people. Where did he get this? On the 4th floor asked about the streamer. It's a scam. The man asked to give the guy his rare card, then they will not kill him. The hero in response showed him an indecent gesture and sent. An artifact is an item that doesn't have synergy but has a special function. Sometimes high-level artifacts can be more important than maps. A high-level equipment card can contain synergy and be an artifact at the same time. The zombie guys attacked the hero on the orders of that man. They attacked him, but he dodged them. He couldn't beat them. He just had no reason to lose. He collected 3 achievements on each floor, which means that he is ahead of them in growth. It's like the difference between a child and an adult. The guy first hit the first, then the second, and so on in turn. The man was shocked. He thought that the guy was just a lucky guy who easily gave cards, and he turned out to be stronger than the man thought. This uncle feeds the sword artifact with consciousness, she realized. He has too strong a weapon that does not correspond to this level, so he is inferior in strength to him. The man loaded his gun to the guy. Because you want to get it, don't you? The girl said, be careful, if the tentacles hit him, he will be able to control the guy. The young man doesn't have a magic shield right now, so one hit will be enough. The man shot his attacks but missed. Why is he running away from him? Doesn't he want to have the strength of a man? He was determined to get the guy and his artifact very seriously. He hit the other man with an attack, whose veins turned pink and his eyes lit up. He was full of power and energy. A man with a hammer in his hands tried to defeat the hero, but he managed to dodge. After hitting the player who cracked the floor, this was the end of the hero. It was necessary to get out of the cave as soon as possible. He listened to the advice, but did not do so. Climbing the mountain, he literally jumped out of the window at the top. Others tried to catch up with him, but the rocks that fell down injured everyone there. A stone fell on the villain and broke his arm, causing his staff to fall out. The man's eyes were empty, his magic gone, and he couldn't hold on any longer. He prayed for the hero's help to save him and get him out of this cave. The caring hero did so. He grabbed the man's hand, but when he saw that his staff was falling down, he jumped after him, not realizing that he would fall into this abyss. And so it happened. The man fell down into this pit. No one else could help him. In addition, the monster opened its mouth when the man fell there. It slammed it shut and disappeared. Finally, everything calmed down. The girl, who was already lying on the table, thought that the guy was going to die. All the commentators were scared. Even though it was a game, but it feels disgusting. After all, he has goals that he is here for, so they should move on. Aksharan bites and kills those who challenge him and puts their corpses in his cave. Among these corpses are beads, in other words, the empty cave of Aksharan. It's like a box of beads. The guy came up on the ground. There were many animals lying. Opening the mouth of one of them, he found a bead and so a few pieces. He alone managed to collect 30 beads, which is a shocking result. Each of the beads gives one achievement. 3 beads means completing a task. Dahlia said the more beads the better. This means that the more beads he brings her, the stronger the hero will be able to become. Maybe he should go deeper into this monster's lair. What he needs most right now is something that can withstand the magic attack that player had. More precisely, he needs a magic shield. The guy went further into the cave. All luminaries are scales of this monster. It supports the effect of Aksharan's magic resistance and has the highest stats among the magic accounts that can be purchased at the initial stages. This is the first time a girl and a guy see so many scales. Maybe they just need to put them on. When the hero did so, he obtained the scales and successfully put on the item. Throwing it on his back, it was covered with different patterns. But suddenly, at some point, it becomes very painful for him, and he literally screams in pain. The monster literally explodes and falls to the ground. We see the man's staff lying inside his body, most likely eaten by the monster. We need stronger flesh. He suddenly remembered the guy. His eyes lit up because of the magic of this sword. We need to kill this player. The tentacle sword controlled Aksharan. Then we see nature, rabbits eating something, and their eyes are burning red. It turns out that these rabbits killed a man. They noticed a guy. The girl asked how the hero feels, can be stronger with the help of this cloak. And why she is so happy, the hero himself has not yet understood. It would be good to see if the beads made him stronger. He heard the guys who were looking for beads. You just need to find a big cave. They said there will be a lot of beads there. These guys just got here and they're already leaving. Suddenly they were stopped by something up. A huge bird flew up, first grabbed the girl and flattened her with its claws, and then shouted at the others. It was a monstrous beak. A monster that suppresses an opponent with natural strength has wings with razor-sharp feathers. Usually, this monster attacks noisy prey first, as it likes to hunt magical creatures. After all, the stronger a creature is, the more magical energy it has in its corpse. Men ran up to the girl. They asked if everything was all right, but she just called for help. The bird cut it open with its wings, and then threw its feathers at the people. People fell unconscious and did not understand what to do, how to save her, but they also need to run. Commenters were shocked that these guys left their girlfriend. Well, you can't leave a friend in trouble so easily, the hero reflected. He rushed to help the girl. The monster also attacked him. The guy, with the help of his run-up, rose in the air. The bird was a little shocked by his fist. He struck it directly in the head, from which it fell to the ground and threw the girl out of its paws. The bird flew away and started shooting its feathers to avoid being approached, but the guy managed to dodge. Where is he going? The girl asked him. This screeching bird must have some weak point. His girlfriend didn't understand. Did he really want to defeat her somehow? He only asked her to be quiet and not interfere. His hands, reinforced with beads, will bring her super ultra relief. The girl was shocked. Why did she just look at this? Maybe the guy hit too hard. If he doesn't back down, the guy will repeat. It turns out that he was already flying in the sky, holding onto the bird with his fingers. Commentators thought that he just flew away. The girl did not have time to thank him. Where did he go? Then we see a certain knight, he doesn't like something, he stands in a circle. Why did they all return without a single bead? This monster was already not easy to kill, and now it has become generally creepy. Those who didn't want to die returned, and that witch just sits there, happy, and probably thinks she's safe. Everyone looking at the queen couldn't understand anything. No one liked it, didn't like it at all. Many returned here, afraid of the monster, and decided not to look for the beads, but to attack the one who finds them, just like the knight. However, who in general could collect at least something in this terrible forest teeming with evil spirits. Everyone was very serious. One thing the knight knows for sure, no matter who came here with the beads, the blood array couldn't be avoided. The queen sat next to her snakes, Andromalia and her snakes understand each other. Next, we see the player sitting in the bird's nest, clearly not expecting it to drag him here. Instead, he found 5 more beads and collected all the 18 beads needed to reach. Who knew that this bird kept beads instead of eggs? The commentators alternated between laughing and thinking about it. But then the hero found useful things, so it wasn't for nothing that he ended up in this place. For example, the item Monstrous beak feathers, and these now as sharp as a knife tips can be used to throw at the enemy. Next to him, he saw a baby bird. It's even a pity for him, to be honest, and he doesn't lay eggs, right? The guy came down from the tree and tried to find his way. It's too quiet in the forest, no animals, no birds, or even bugs have been felt for a long time. Commenters noticed something was coming, but what? It was a huge tiger with horns, or rather, the Bengal tiger. This is the second most powerful monster in the forest. Lightning fast catches up with the victim and rubs to shreds. Someone has already said about this tiger, no, this energy does not come from it. The player noted, it is too powerful for this creature. Suddenly, this tiger was grabbed by someone in the paste and split in half. It was the same monster that was possessed by the man's sword. He just swallowed this tiger in one go. When did Aksharan even manage to become so gigantic? Everyone was scared. The monster smelled a man. He found him behind this stone, behind which the hero was hiding. That with this monster, he began to move completely differently and look different. The monster ran after the guy, but he was able to dodge. The hero made every effort, and he at least henna. At some point, the young man hid behind a tree. This monster did not move at all like a snake, but as if the guy was fighting with a person. The monster continued to laugh and search for him. But this monster doesn't have enough consciousness to speak, the girl pointed out. Did she still not understand anything? Yes, it's funny. The monster showed its true eyes and the power of that voice. Could it really be this man? The snake was ready to devour the player's guts. Had that sword artifact taken over the snake's mind? He uses the body of a monster for human techniques, and the hero seems to be fighting with an opponent with very long arms. The monster was very angry and shouted at the hero. The girl was worried about her friend. The snake took in air, and later exhaled it along with a certain slime that enveloped the space next to it. This slime burned through everything in its path and got on the guy's back. This acid, even his bones will dissolve. But why doesn't he feel anything? Why doesn't it hurt him? More likely he won't be hurt anymore. The monster grabbed him with its tentacle and squeezed. The guy was in so much pain, he couldn't breathe and was trying to get out. How much does the guy think the snake ate on the way to him? For 200 people, she grew stronger with each victim, but she is very interested in what this little man's brain tastes like. So she's going to eat this guy, eat out his entire brain. When the monster opened its mouth, it was a terrifying sight. There were a lot of teeth and a long tongue that were heading towards the hero. While he was acting, the guy took out a bird's feather and stabbed the monster right in its tongue. He quickly took and closed his mouth and also released the hero. The guy is wearing Aksharan's scale shield. Of course, it can't be penetrated by his own poison. The young man pretended to be wounded, and the monster was led into battle with the enemy curling at a long distance. You need to close the distance to deliver a crushing blow. The guy took another feather and pierced the monster's eye, the basis of the basics. The monster fell to the ground. Will this move work on this asshole? The hero used his leg boost, flashed, he used earth crash and hit right in the eye once again. The monster seemed to have sunk into the ground. Everything around it was sparkling with blood, and then it turned dark. The sword was still lying on the ground, and the magic still radiated from it. Someone from him said that he could still make the hero stronger. It's not too late, but he did not agree, but only sent him, breaking the sword with his foot. Now it's all over. It's the snake that was broken in half. You can't even eat it, and he's hungry. The girl who had been watching him all this time was probably hungry too, so he suggested that she go out and eat. The players in this game also have to eat, so he did the same. Dawn was coming, and the queen was still sitting next to her snake, not understanding what was happening in the distance. She didn't believe that the boy had defeated the monster alone. It was simply impossible. People suddenly heard a loud rumble from the side. It seems that this is the same snake they thought. So someone is fighting this snake right now. Everyone wanted to go there. One beat is worth the risk. The guys rushed to run there, but the same guy came out of this fire. He was met by a knight. Apparently this is the hero who collected all the beads. No one gave a damn who he killed because they all wanted to kill this kid and take his beads. They took out their balls and pointed it at the guy. He showed them the beads. Are they talking about it? Everyone was shocked when they saw these beads, and he threw one of them directly at the guys. He shouted for them to take her away, and she hit a man right in the face, knocked out his teeth, and he fell unconscious. He did this to everyone, even though they were ready to attack, but the guy managed to defeat them. Many people commented that these guys didn't even have a chance to fight a player. An NPC has an average of 4 achievements per 4 floors, while a hero has a total of 27 beads and achievements. They have a difference in strength, like an adult and a child. People were still trying to defend themselves instead of attacking him, and one of the men used an ice storm. The guy couldn't afford anything, even though it was cold, but he was able to overcome it. Even a magic attack doesn't work on him. Why is he so strong? Ordinary players began to run away from him. But the feathers of that bird flew into their backs, and he took care of everyone who was there. He also suggested that they take this bead. In 30 seconds, he managed to take everyone down in exactly 30 seconds. The knight was shocked. Who else wants his bead? Only the boy and the guy in the armor are left on the field. They chatted and said that it probably wasn't their day, so they'd go out later. Since this is how the hero will go, he went to the girl queen. She said that of course he had to work hard for that snake. It turns out that she originally knew about him, but he can put the beads here. She pointed to the mouth of her snake. The guy did, but how many beads did he collect? It turns out 18 grand. What a good fellow he is. Complete the task, collect 3 beads, was completed. He received various achievements. As many as 6 types of achievements. It literally collects all achievements without exception. People commented. The girl also gave him something from herself for the fact that he was able to dispel her boredom. She placed a card on his chest. It was a reward, a card with the power of resurrection. The guy opened his status window, and when he used the map, he realized that now he can also use this something. The Demon King can bestow a reward of sorts on players who perform well. Then we see a clock tower nearby where a girl is running. She's looking for an emergency exit. It should be in block 14-3. Suddenly a hand comes out of the ground and grabs her leg. It's a huge man. Where was this little girl running away from him? She tried to stab him, but why would Namna burn his bald head? No matter what they say about him personally, he will not allow baldness to offend him. This huge giant tried to hit the girl with his fist at the moment when the hero flew up and kicked him in the face, from which he was confused. The man flew several dozen meters away. The girl only had time to rejoice at the open door, and the guy was already down from the leg of the one who was behind it. A mark appeared above his head. He needed to kill 3 people with a blue mark above their head and find a way out. It had a red mark on it, 0 targets killed, and 36 players left in Assassin's Alley. It turns out that a new player came to them. The girl discussed with a certain man. Should they kill the kid first or rob him? What difference does it make to them? Because they kill everyone they meet on their way, said the third person. What happens if a new player is stronger than them? Po Tiger appeared out of the darkness and asked if the girl was joking. When the man who hit the girl woke up, the guy started asking him about the tag. It turns out that the attackers have red marks and the defenders have blue ones, and he, being an attacker, must kill 3 people with a blue mark to get out of here. The guy, understood everything correctly, but there is nothing above his bald head. Why? This means that it is no longer necessary to catch a man for a guy. The hero is in a bit of a hurry, so where are the most blue players here? Why does this player immediately rush into battle? The man wondered. He just entered the level. Why is this bald tower thinking so slowly? Now it is very difficult to find people in the Alley of Kill because everyone hid so as not to become their victim in this hunt. Well, who are these? They are half-beasts. At first, it was just the 4 of them, but they hadn't seen the white-furred half-beast for a long time, so it must have moved on to the next level. The remaining 3 kill players just for fun. A half-beast is the strongest species that combines human intelligence and Everine strength. They exist in extremely small numbers, even in Eden. In extremely small numbers. I thought about girls. This is probably because, although they look like people, they are different in appearance and their culture is in decline. In such conditions, they are easily captured and discriminated against. And in Eden, where the culture did not extend beyond the Middle Ages, of course, there were also slaves. And the slavers did their best to hunt the beastmen. Then, in order to survive, they fought back against people and learned martial arts. If anyone finds out that there are free beastmen here, it's better to run right away. That's what they started saying. In short, even if the guy now kills the man, he will not get any benefit. Since he could go like this, he thanked the guy and ran away. But while he was running away, the guy remembered something before leaving. He would have to empty his pockets. As a result, the man remained in the ground and said that he would show this guy more. Why did this guy only collect a cure for baldness? Suddenly, someone in a red raincoat approached him from behind and the hero asked if he was finished hunting and was just looking for a way out. If so, then let him fail, but it's not quite like that. This NPC is similar to the character that sister used in her game. The guy thought about it, and this little gnome asked to listen. He thanked the guy for saving him, because he almost died from the man's screams. It wasn't a problem for him, so he'd better get out of here before they caught him again. But this little man asked to give him a hand, so the hero did. This gnome told the beastman player to beware and left. The girl was telling a friend that they should hurry up. Well, what kind of beastmen are they? Why should you be wary of them? The dwarf ran to the door, and it burned blue. He finally found his way out. But there was a man waiting for him, even if he had already left the little gnome alone. The little man asked the man to leave him alone, but only his head and severed body poked out from around the corner. They both hid so well, but they still ended up getting caught. It's a good thing this guy finally stopped talking, otherwise he would have said so many rude things. So it was the girl who just killed him instead of answering. Then the boy asked her to answer the question of where and when he saw the new player. But the dwarf knew better than to tell them. Even if he did, they would kill him anyway. Someone in the darkness said it was a pretty brave little man, but it didn't matter at all, because the smell of him they'd find on his body would be enough. They stood right in front of the little gnome and repeated once more, "They are starting this hunt." In one of the Korean fairy tales, a tiger promised that he would not eat a woman if she gave him her food. We see how it was these beastmen who killed the little man. Behind them, as in the movie, the same queen watched her tiger. Muv, the tiger man, was very good and interesting to watch, she thought. Yes, and on the lower floors of the beast people show themselves best of all. However, it will not be easy for them on the higher floors, said the girl who also sat in the cinema. After all, they usually don't think about forming alliances with other types of players. It was a pity for them, of course, but they wouldn't do well this time, she thought. She asked Dantalian to confirm it, and he thought it was thanks to them that they had had a good time. And also continues to have fun in this popcorn movie. Who will they bet on this time? All demons choose one champion for themselves, which they then pit against each other, and the winner of this confrontation is awarded a prize. Betting is a kind of battle royale in which weak players are eliminated and only the strongest remain. What are the rules for completing the quest? The number of achievements? The girl asked. How about we push them against each other and find out who's stronger? The man thought. This will be the Andromalia floor, so what about looking for skill cards? The girl agreed, so she bets on Mute, the tiger man. Wasn't she the one who was swearing at people just now? But there is no place for emotions in an argument. Cold calculation, that's what wins. Skills, inventory, morale, by all criteria, he's the strongest on the 5th floor. The queen also puts a human on the beast. Her champion will be Valkar, the wolfman. In a life and death battle, the one with the stronger will to win eventually wins. Both girls bet on the beastmen. I wonder who the man will choose, since only the fox woman is left. He decided to bet on the player, or rather our hero. Both girls turned around and were shocked. Well, what are they? You can't turn away from the screen while watching. They didn't understand why the man was doing this. No player from Earth was able to climb above the 45th floor. And this kid is the most ordinary of them all. They've seen it for themselves. He refused the help of an NPC. Humans can't do anything, I don't make any effort. The girl shouted at the man, because all of them are absolutely not worth their attention. She was as straightforward as ever. This guy, he had already performed quite well on the 4th floor, but in terms of combat skills, he couldn't compare to the beastmen. The man said he was sure of the kid anyway. The blonde-haired girl sat indignantly. Just what this man was up to, they would all have to see which one of them was favored by luck. We see how someone is looking for something in the boxes and can't find it anywhere. Everything was empty. The hero turned this place upside down, but found nothing. Commentators condemned him for something, and someone believed that nothing was going to happen to him. He asked them all to be quiet, because he couldn't even find the remote control at home. The girl suggested that he search a little more, because they would still need a key to climb that clock tower. His girlfriend is right, there is no way to give up if he wants to get an artifact from the tower. If this key was unlocked by someone else, the guy doesn't even know. It should definitely be hidden here. The girl drew attention to the chest of drawers, which was locked in the factory. Does not remove the dressers just like that. The guy looked at the dresser, used his mighty arm attack, but suddenly at some point sweat and eyes appeared on the dresser. He flew away from the guy's blow. It's a mimic, said the girl. Wow, there's even a wild iron chest of drawers. The human sphere team noticed this and the wolf told them to follow him. They broke into the place where the hero was looking for things, but realized that they still missed him. This kid quickly moves around the factory premises and turns them over with a hair dryer. Was he trying to find inventory here? They wondered. It's strange, he entered the level not so long ago. Why does he only inspect factories? After all, the guys burned all the level cards, leaving only their own copy. She pointed to the map, and there were only 3 factories left in Sector D. The wolf offered to split up. Apparently, he wants to find out who is lucky. This is a great chance to have fun for the 3 of them. They hope that luck is on their side. Meanwhile, the hero had already found the key to the clock tower and was very happy about it. The mimic was defeated. The hero has become faster, just like Aksharan, but time is short, they need to hurry. At night, the attacking defenders changed places. Above the guy was a red and blue badge at the same time. What do you mean? It turns out that this is a battle from which only one person is alive. A wolf was standing in front of him. Luck is clearly on his side today. Above the animal icon is also red and blue. They are simply pitted against each other. The hero heard that he and his friends are real veterans of this level. Has Wolfman ever seen a Bell Limb player? The wolf asked me to think about it. He had killed so many people that he probably wouldn't even remember. Is he sure that's all the guy wants to say before he dies? The wolf pounced on him with its weapon and pierced him. There was a lot of red spray around, but it was only a can of tomato paste. He was aiming for the heart, and the guy turns out to be pretty fast for a human. It's a beastman, right? It has such a fast and sharp attack. Its sword is sharp like a wolf's fang. Later, the monster attacked him not with a weapon, but with its mouth open. The guy may not even try, he still cannot escape. What does it mean, then, that you must first break this fang, or rather, break the sword with your bare hands? It's simply impossible. But the hero did it. The wolf was a little shocked. Meanwhile, the youth had taken a chain from somewhere and was trying to attack with it. He used the factory chain for the beast man weapon, just an ornament. The monster decided to attack with its paws. It swung at the guy, but he was able to stop his attack with the same chain. The wolf still hit him with its claws. The guy bled. The monster will tear him to shreds. Then the hero threw a chain around him and squeezed his hand with it, and later swung it as if with a rope and threw it back. The boy waited for him to approach, and in order to do this deft move, he pulled on the chain and used an assault kick. At first, everything was sparkling, but then it suddenly turned dark and the smoke dispersed in different directions. In the middle was the wolf wrapped in chains. This assault strike was very powerful. When the guy stopped, some pink stars suddenly fell around. It was a fox girl. As usual, a guy can't do anything without her, or rather, a wolf. Did he miss her? And poor little half-wolf doesn't look like much. He's been hit by a man. The wolf started to deny it, because he just missed a punch, but at least this time he admits that he missed it. The young man was already infuriated by one beast, and now there are two of them, and besides, this fox uses magic at long distances. He wasn't even killed by her magic fire. He was stronger than ordinary humans. The vixen will see if he can withstand the kind of blow that she will deal now. The girl put two fingers together and raised them up. She uses the fox magic skill. A ball appeared in the sky, which flew in a circle around the sunrise of the full moon. It had been a long time since he'd shown the humans his true colors. When the wolf saw the moon, it was as if he was hypnotized. His eyes turned red, and he broke out of all the chains, broke them. His body became huge. He grew several times larger and began to howl at the moon. After that, he turned on the guy and began to growl. "Come on, Valkar," the fox said. "Let him tear this guy apart." The wolf rushed to run at the guy. The ground cracked, but the hero did not lose his head. He jumped back from each attack. The guy didn't know whose magic it was, but he was stronger and faster, so what should he do now? Why does he dare to be distracted? The fox asked. What a pity. And despite the fact that they are all strong at a long distance, the hero needs a plan with which he can defeat them. He realized that, most likely, it was the moon. Why did he freeze asking him a girl? Let him entertain her properly. The guy was standing near the wall and could not move anywhere as the wolf rushed at him. Also, the girl's attacks flew around. They did not touch the guy as he deftly dodged. Maybe he was lucky. The fox was shocked because he couldn't come back from all the attacks. No way. He doesn't know where her magic fire is going, but it still doesn't hit him. Now the guy knows that he can use another power, which he felt then. He sees streams coming from the moon and from the magical fire. It's all mana. After 15 achievements, he got a vision of mana flows. He feels that the same energy cycles in his body, and if you focus it in one place. The girl noticed that the hero managed to control the flow of mana on the first attempt. "You can't give him time to think," I said to the wolf, and he again rushed to attack the hero. He was running at the guy, and the guy was running at the wolf. He used Assault Strike and threw his fist straight at the monster, and also used Full Moon Crush. Through the wolf, he punched the moon with his attack beam. The fox didn't believe that her magic was destroyed in a single blow. Killing a mage should be the first priority in any game, the hero thought. The fox told him not to approach her, otherwise it would be bad. But the guy did not listen to her, and using his attack in his hand, a real fire hotter than hers, he dealt her a crushing blow. After that, everything went quiet. Valkar and Aaron's energy disappeared at the same time. Tiger noticed, so he ran to help them. When he arrived, he saw a dead wolf and a fox lying in the same state. His eyes glowed red, and he was filled with rage, ready to maul anyone who did this. He was overwhelmed by the brightness, so his body increased several times. He promised his friends to find this person, crush his bones, and decorate their graves with them. Meanwhile, the hero came to the tower. He used a wound healing potion, and so it happened. The boy was climbing the circular staircase up to the tower. He went to the lock, left the key, and opened the door. When he went inside, he saw the structure of the clock in the clock itself, and in the middle of it was something very bright. The most valuable item that can be obtained in this level is hidden at the top of the clock tower. The artifact of the clock tower is this gear, the greatest mechanism. It restores the physical condition to the best, accelerates the speed of movement. All the people on the street noticed that the hand of the clock on the tower had stopped. One man looked at the arch of this clock, and only a tiger's paw pulled out a dead man. Meanwhile, the hero calmly left the tower and noticed what was happening with the tiger's feet dripping blood. He was all ablaze, as if on fire. This is the last of the 3 beastmen, so he is the wolf and fox's friend. The monster rushed at the hero, the young man jumped back, so he is the one who killed his friends. They were friends of the tiger, so don't let the man wait for mercy. And to console the soul of his comrades, the tiger will tear the hero apart. The boy was a little shocked. He jumped away from each attack and later stepped on his own. With one of his paws, he smashes the asphalt to smithereens. He is many times stronger than a person and also faster. It is the tiger that has attacked again. It is superior in all respects to the hero. The monster has cut it right on the chest with its claws. There is no point in even trying to block the attacks of this monster. The guy tried to use his skills, such as assault strike. He did not even have time to finish the end of the tiger beat him and beat. At one point, the monster grabbed his hand and squeezed it in its paw. It was a kind of blocking strike. The young man was shocked and did not know what to do. The tiger was still furious and did not plan to retreat. His eyes were red. He threw the guy so hard that he broke the asphalt. The hero was covered in blood and did not know what to do. He hid around the corner. The girl knew that her friend was in trouble because the opponent is much stronger than the previous ones. In addition, the hero has already found the artifacts and it's time to run, but they will not be able to escape. He understood. His opponent is not a man, but a real beast, and it will not be possible to hide from him. Tiger knew that the man had confused his tracks, but he would still find the boy by the smell of blood. The furious monster was still searching for the guy, checking every corner and every house. Meanwhile, the hero jumped off the roof and kicked him right in the face. The tiger said that you need to stop running, because after killing the tiger's friends, the guy automatically became prey for the monster. The guy couldn't run, he had wounds and no strength. The monster still continued to launch attacks. How could a weakling like him be able to kill 2 of his tiger companions? Not believe it. The girl at her computer watched what was happening, tears streaming from her eyes. The power of the beast people is that they consciously control the incredible beast power. Right now, however, it is a tiger completely blinded by a rage that is tearing from the inside out. His attack power has increased critically, but it will also be his weakness. This weakness will be enough to give the guy a chance just for a minute. When the monster calmed down a bit, it noticed that the place where it was hitting wasn't the body of that guy, it was gone. But when he did, while the monster was distracted, the guy hit him. The smell of blood clouded his mind, and the tiger didn't notice that the boy had launched a counterattack. There is one wisdom in the guy's homeland: even if he was caught by a tiger, he can save himself by keeping his cool. The young man used acceleration with the help of gears. They moved faster. The guy got a speed boost of the first level, and so at this level all movements are accelerated 3 times. The action time is only 1 minute. The monster realized that it was an artifact. The tiger was late. The guy did not use the skill activation. He used the soaring dragon. This dragon attacked the tiger and filled its entire body. Using such an attack, the tiger's head flew off. The kid won't apologize for this. As far as he knows, he and his friends are real maniacs. Yes, and the young man has a reason why he must pass this game to the end. The hero exhaled. Before him lay the lifeless and headless body of a tiger. The girl in the movie theater was shocked. Crazy. How could he? How could an ordinary person be able to defeat the tiger man even on the 5th floor? The girl was furious. But the conditions of the bet must be met, the man reminded. Everyone remembers this. She couldn't believe that the little man had adapted to mana so quickly, even using the greatest mechanism. This player from Earth needs support. They haven't discussed it with the girls before, have they? Earthlings naturally have neither innate mana nor physical strength like beastmen. Therefore, the hero can be helped a little with information, the man thought. The maze hasn't been so fun in a long time, and Yoon Tae-young has shown that he has every chance of becoming an outstanding player who will change the course of the game. The guy activated the resurrection card, all his wounds were healed, and his mana level was restored. His task of killing 3 people and getting out was completed. He gained new skills as well as gold coins. The 5th floor was passed. His girlfriend praised him. The guy lay down on the ground and rested. He just fell asleep. The commentators watched and commented that he was tired, of course, and it was crazy to let so much mana flow through him. In a matter of hours, he has passed several floors, which other people take several days to complete. The girl was happy. She praised the guy for his excellent work and turned off the stream. Suddenly, the queen came up to the hero lying on the ground. Because he likes to sleep right on the ground, she thought. The girl tapped him on the head with her heels. How funny he was. When the guy woke up, there was a card on his face, a counterattack card. The girl asked the hero what happened while he was sleeping. Where did this card come from? But he didn't know, he had just woken up and she was already lying on his nose. How could the card have come to him on its own, and such a rare one at that? Next, we see a certain little man. He greets, "This is Bastane, the sweetest assistant of the Demon King." He thanks them for getting to this stage, so why does he meet them on the doorstep? Of course, to tell them about this level. This is the castle of a swordsman. The task is to get out of this castle, this someone said to the little people. Everyone was standing in front of the castle, the sky was red. This stage is not like the open world of Assassin's Alley. Gay's friends like it much better here, too. The rules of this level are quite simple. Enter this castle, unlock the secret room and climb up the stairs in this room. And also find the exit in the very center of the castle to get out of it. It turns out that the exit here is not at the top, but in the very center. But the point is different. Apparently, there is something at the top. A berserk swordsman lives on the top floor of the castle. He's completely insane, and his character is something with something. As soon as he sees someone alive, he will immediately start swinging his sword. Or maybe that's not how he puts his sword through anything that moves. So, this is the boss and the only opponent of players at this level. As time passes, the swordsman's range increases, because the mad swordsman is coming down from the top floor, and players go up from the bottom to the top. But what happens if you encounter a monster in the center of the castle? Don't worry, players only need to reach the exit to pass the test. But if they run into a boss, they can try to chat with this madman. A little helper will give them a hint. In the basement of the castle there is an entrance to the dungeon. And that dungeon has a lot of weapons and inventory as well as special rewards. It will be much easier to resist a swordsman if they are armed. The level of the swordsman's castle is completely different from the previous ones. In Search of Beads or in the Alley of Assassins, players faced off against each other. But in this castle, the opposite is true. You need to cooperate with strangers. The guys began to divide into teams, looking for new fellow travelers. If a guy collects weapons while others are opening the secret room, what happens? Although it will be difficult to find companions, the player thought. Everyone should go to the opening of the secret chamber now anyway, said a certain man in armor and carrying a huge sword. No one is likely to mind his words. It's the NPC Toby. The players realized that if they followed him, they would probably be able to pass the level. If so, then everyone was on their way. The man paid attention to the hero who passed by him without paying attention. Did he not hear him? He stopped the guy behind his shoulder. He apologized, but he needed to find something. The young man replied the man doesn't need to pay attention to him and let everyone go about their business. This angered the NPC. It seems that the boy did not understand. He is not trying to persuade now. As the man spoke, the boy seemed to disappear. The player entered the dungeon and made an indecent gesture to the man. This made him very angry. No one noticed how he ran away. The girl noticed this. In the dungeon, he was attacked by monsters, but he dealt with them. This level probably also has a mysterious artifact. The hero was the first to enter here, so it's just him and the monsters, but he found the map. The Stormtrooper card, it's green in color. It's like a skill that uses the power of the spirit, the girl explained. It will be a pity to lose an unusual skill until the hero puts it in his inventory. One of the donators asked him how about he use this card now. Similarly, the hero also has a skill card, so let him get it. This is a value search map. It's the first time a girl sees a one-time skill like this, and she's never seen anything like it before. In addition, it helps to search for gold. Perhaps this is a skill for collecting coins. Well, what does it mean to search for values? Who knows? It is not clear what kind of values are ordinary loot or artifact, maybe a map. In addition to the fact that it's a rare skill, this is the first time she's seen a one-time skill being rare. The guy used value search activation. Sometimes the girl thinks too much. Now he will try, and they will all know where this map will lead them. There were guys in the secret room. The boy found the secret mechanism of this room. But this was a trap, and they needed to get out of here. This guy pulled the lever even though the man told him not to. The guy's arm was cut off. Everything seemed to be quiet. The wounded were taken out into the street. The sword fell to the floor and broke. Others shouted that they would not be able to climb any further. Even their weapons were broken. Everyone decided to go to the dungeon, so the man slapped the guy on the back of the head and told him to think again. There's only a short time left before the exit from this level. Isn't it better to just hurry up? But no one said that it would be so difficult to enter the room. Everyone who followed the man died. Inventory is running low. If they encounter a berserker, those who have replenished their inventory in the dungeon have at least some chance of survival, and everyone else will die. Everyone agreed with this and was against going any further. It seems that in the split group, the difficulty level was high and many died. Perhaps it would be better to go to the dungeon first. This the man himself knows, but it's too late to turn off. If the guys split up, They would definitely die, and he had to keep going even if he had to force them to. We'll probably have to stop them by force. He grabbed one of the guys by the head and lifted him up, and asked everyone else to trust him. This is the only way for everyone to survive here. Everyone was shocked by the man's actions. They were approached by the guy who slipped away at the beginning. He sees they really went here all together. However, their efforts make him feel uncomfortable. Well, who is this? After all, it was he who escaped to the dungeon earlier. The girl watched. She turned to her friend. It really was the one who went to the dungeon alone in the beginning. The girl next to her was Wind Mage and PC Lam. Wind mages, they use the wind not only as a weapon, but also as a source of information, catching particles in the air. In addition, this girl is able to predict the future by listening to the whisper of the wind. To do this, wind mages spend years training their sensitivity to airflow, their state, density, strength, and so on. Therefore, the girl saw that the guy who was standing opposite this man was surrounded by furious streams of bloody wind. She was glad he left alone, but now he's back. She doesn't like it. The boy sees that they really all came here together. Well, their efforts make him feel rather uncomfortable. The hero again tries to sabotage their progress to the exit. The man got angry and attacked him. This young man doesn't want to cooperate, so the man doesn't need him. He'll kill him before he starts talking. The man pounced on the hero, but he stood motionless. The man is the only one here who prevents him and these people from surviving. This giant sword has a nightmarish amount of mana inside it. If the guy poured his mana into it, even that sturdy sword would shatter into small pieces. So it happened. The man was shocked. What is this? How many achievements does this guy have? He hid his true power from them, but no one asked him about it. He didn't want to help the whole team. He has such a frenzied strength. Why is that? The fact is that he wants to kill a berserk swordsman coming from the upper floors. Well, how does he want to do this? Is it even possible? Maybe the guy is crazy, others thought. He had heard all these comments. Others thought he was crazy with the words, "He can't beat the boss." A man and a guy were looking at each other while standing in a stance. Suddenly the girl said, "Wind fangs." Suddenly, an attack flew at the guy. He didn't know what to do. He was still alive, but a lot of dust rose around him and the walls were destroyed. The girl laughs, but she doesn't try to hold back. She's tired of listening to the chatter. All the commenters were amazed by her beauty and strength. She didn't help because she liked the man, and let her remember that. Maybe it's the order that thinks the two of them will have a better chance of dealing with the hero. The girl was counting on it for her. She used her attack. Her attack resembled a circle. It seems that today she is lucky. The attack still hit the hero and carried him several meters away. This was an SSS level NPC, the perfect character to support in any major battle. His girlfriend asked him to persuade this girl to cooperate with them. Well, you have to think, thought the guy lying on the broken wall, because she wants to kill him. The girl did not know what the hero was up to, so she offered him to surrender. So you haven't thought about it if she thinks there's still something left on this level that he hasn't found. Dungeon, he has accumulated so many weapons in his inventory that no matter who he fights, even if it's a level boss, he doesn't care. This is a complete nightmare. The girl did not understand, even though the hero has already achieved his goal. She didn't understand his words, and when she turned around, she realized that after his words, everyone had fled to the dungeon. This ruse worked. The girl launched her attack at him again. But he walked out the door, slamming it shut before facing the force. The man told the girl to calm down. The guy entered the room alone, which means that he will not come out alive. The girl was very angry. She knew exactly who he was. She wondered. Great, these people had escaped to the dungeon as he had hoped. Now he would be fighting these monsters. It will warm up before the boss arrives. Next, we see that Helper again. He knows what everyone is waiting for. Since everyone is here, the show is about to start. He snapped his fingers, and suddenly the entire castle shook. Suddenly the guy picked up something. No one knew what that sound was and thought it was all the boss. Everyone understood that it was necessary to run to the dungeon as soon as possible, but people began to be cut into pieces. Something appeared out of nowhere. That someone looked like a monster with glowing red eyes, and it was the berserk swordsman. His blade had already killed 2 people, and he was moving on. Others found the wounded. The healers didn't have enough mana for other people, and everyone around them was cursing and whining. The whole team knew that they should at least run to the hidden room. It was pure suicide. Even so, well, it was clearly better than dying from the sword of that monster. As soon as the boy opened the door, he immediately cut off his arm. It was a nightmare. A real hell started for everyone around. Such a monster cannot be defeated. Just replenish the inventory in the dungeon. If the girl sitting in the corner crying had known this was going to happen, she would have gone to the hidden room. And the monster found her here, and Toby was right. The monster had already killed 9 people, and its power level was increasing. By itself, it also grew. Suddenly someone knocked and opened the door. The monster immediately shot an attack there, but nothing happened. He says he hit the shoe. He realized that someone was there and ran after him. He should give him a fatal blow. The male knight thought and retreat, taking the people to the dungeon. But then the man stumbled. It was the scarlet energy surrounding the swordsman, and it was impossible to break through it. This energy is too dense, it will not allow you to injure the monster. Then the evil spirits turned around and noticed the Nightman can no longer, but he cannot die so easily. He activated the warrior's last fight skill, his body covered in green energy. But still, at some point, the monster ran him through with its weapon. The man died like this. Then the girl came to the rescue. She used the wind charm and hit the attack directly into the monster. The man really did well, lasted longer than he could have. She can't afford to let more victims fall. It wasn't her imagination, it was the energy swirling around the berserker. It increased with each victim he killed. She doesn't know if that was his plan, but now most of the people are safe because they are in the dungeon. We need to evacuate the rest and avoid further casualties, she recalled, as the guy deftly drove everyone into the dungeon. The girl swung her fan and used an air wave on the monster. She shouted to all the people to quickly run the dungeon and save themselves, and you did so while she was stopping the monster. But suddenly, there was an energy radiating from him that she couldn't handle. This energy did not allow people to escape, and they did not stay alive. A monster can create such a powerful wind by swinging its sword. The berserk swordsman killed 12 people. His strength level has increased again, his sword has become even bigger, something is coming, it has become even stronger than before. From the monster began to radiate an incredible fan, but it was an incredible energy, tried to protect itself with its fan, but it was an incredible power, it will not last long. Her hands were loosening and sweat was beginning to run down her face. Why the fear she feels in the air? Was this really the end of her? While the girl was holding on to the attack, the guy from above was watching her and chuckling. What is he doing? The girl was shocked, she asked for help. Was she talking to him now, and did he see other living people? While the girl was still with Dara surviving the attack and asking for help, she reminded him that he had once tried, or rather wanted to defeat the monster and probably knew some way. She will help the guy, he himself has seen how strong the girl is. But why should he believe her? She swore by the wind itself, the gentle wind that had made them happy as children. The same stifled wind raging in her lungs. And, of course, the bloody wind that winds around him. What does a girl, a friend, a guy say? I have no idea. Maybe this is a special oath of the Wind Mage. What's the Wind Mage oath? This swordsman is indeed very strong. It's definitely the strongest one they've ever met before. Since that's the case, then the woman swears that she will only help him and won't attack. The girl swore again. She vows to devote her entire life to the guy until the day she dies. At first, she was shocked by this statement, as well as the commenters, but if she doesn't want to, then the guy won't help her. The girl agreed to it anyway. She swears by the wind itself, that she would devote the rest of her life to serving him. Then, before hitting the monster, which he would have finally inflicted on the girl, the guy repulsed him. He accepts her vow. The girl sat in shock. The guy was able to stop the monster's ball hitting with one of his legs and continued to fight with it. A lot of fragments and dust flew around, and so on. When the monster stopped, he noticed that there were no enemies in front of him. It turns out that the guy grabbed the girl and went up. In the brief moment when the berserker lowered his blade, the guy managed to jump up. They hid at the top, around the corner, and the girl asked what the hero's plan was, but he asked her to be quiet. The monster searched and did not understand where they had gone. Then, at the right moment, the hero jumped right down on the monster and wanted to kick, which he did. He jumped right on top of the monster's head and slid across its face. Everything is clear, the red aura around him works as a shield and does not miss attacks. The higher the power level, the more powerful the monster's shield is, so every time a swordsman kills 3, their power level doubles. His power level now reaches 4, which is 4 times what it was when he entered the game, no, 16 times more. The monster snarled and continued to launch attacks. While the guy was fighting with it, he noticed some sounds. They were people and the monster noticed them. He quickly turned around and tried to attack them. He killed 15 people. The swordsman's strength level rose again to 5. This is already 32 times more. The hero is not ready for this and the commentators too. The monster has wings and it has grown several times more. He looked like a certain demon. The monster dropped its armor. Even that cocky guy couldn't handle it, she thought. Maybe she should help him. But he only extended his right hand and asked his friend how many minutes had passed since the monster was in the game. Almost 20 minutes, that's fine. All the guy used was the mechanism. The difference is 3 times and 32 times. Against the berserker's background, the guy looked very small, but he was serious. Using this mechanism, the guy gained more strength while the monster tried to attack him with the ball. The mechanism worked and destroyed the monster gradually. The sword that was supposed to stab the guy literally dissolved. There are 2 sides to the greatest gear skill. The first is acceleration, which accelerates the movement and the cooling of the mechanism lasts for 12 hours. And another thing is recovery. It restores the physical condition to the best possible condition. Cooling of the mechanism lasts the same amount. Of course, everyone believes that these techniques only work on the body of the player himself. However, recovery can be applied on someone else. The Berserk swordsman was returning to the state he was in 20 minutes ago. His power level was dropping, and he was level 1 again. In front of the guy was a monster of the same size as himself. So what's so bad now? Probably that they gave him power and then took it away. The monster started throwing random punches with its weapon, but it didn't hit the guy. The Berserk swordsman was left without armor and protective aura. He was definitely screwed. This is a great time to test a new player card. He took out his green card and used it. It was the wind. The player's body was possessed by Arisen, a wind spirit warrior, and lasted for 60 seconds. This unusual skill card became a unique skill card. The girl and the guy's girlfriend were shocked. It's a wind spirit, isn't it? I thought he was heading for the monster that had been attacking him all this time. The guy didn't dodge the attack. He, on the contrary, slipped past the monster and was behind him, from where he already delivered a crushing blow. The monster was shocked. This is the technique of the same master. 18 gusts of wind. The guy became so agile and fast that the monster did not notice all his attacks, but was just like a punching bag. The guy threw the last blow to his head, and that's how he defeated him. Then the spirit of wind attack left the player's body. A sinister and self-confident guy with a bloody wind blowing around him, she thought. He shouted to her that everything was finished and she could go down. Well, who is he anyway? The guy was standing in front of a slain monster in a pool of blood, and he was holding a sword in his hands. He can't believe he's holding what that monster had in his hands. It was a vampire katana. As a result, a card appeared in his hands. It's not even important that the card is rare, but rather the skill, Bloodlust. Now, when the pain control system is not working due to a game glitch, this skill is the most useful, because surely it wasn't as bad as when he was fighting the tiger. Although he didn't show it, he had endured the pain on pure willpower all this time. A girl ran up to him and put her hand on her wound. Then a friend flew up to the guy and asked if he was normal, or that he answered that he wasn't quite. Commenters were envious of the fact that there was such a beautiful girl next to him and holding him in a hug. He asked his girlfriend to use the power of battle recovery. She applied a regeneration card, healed all his wounds. The girl was shocked, because he might even heal for nothing. She was so worried. So the guy took his time. He's not so crazy, she understands. But the girl is just the opposite. She swore to the wind. What happens if she breaks the oath? She bowed her head and fell silent. Then she would lose all the skills she had gained up to now. The guy was shocked for a mage. This is the most important thing. There is no absolute guarantee that she will not betray the hero, but it seems that you can rely on her. Since that's the case, she should now obey the guy. Suddenly she started to stop him and begged him not to come any closer, but he held out his hand to her. He offered to exchange greetings. The hero introduced himself by his first name, and she introduced herself as a Feng Shui master. They shook hands and walked on, leaving a trail of blood in their wake. The young man went to the door and opened it. As soon as he opened it, everything glowed with a bright light. The demon queen was sitting on the throne, and they finally came to see her. It was Andromalia, and she said that the guys were getting used to it perfectly, but how can she? Because it was a woman who sent this monster to the heroes. The queen's assistant started cursing at the guy. How could he even say such a thing to a woman? Where did he get this from in the first place? The woman believes that in the future couples will not be able to get more, but only if he continues to be a good boy and does as well as he does now. The swordsman's castle was completed for him. This is the first time a girl gets 6 achievements for one floor. Before that her limit was no more than 3. Thanks to the guy, she cleaned it out with a much better result than she thought. Suddenly, the hero had a sharp headache, but what happened? As expected, since he had obtained 10 achievements, it wouldn't be so easy to adapt to an enlarged soul. How did he get 10 achievements? There really were 10 of them, and they were very different, and the guy got gold. Commentators were also shocked. Some believed, some did not. One of the donators paid a full 1 million won and said that the guy was playing well. His girlfriend sitting on the stream was also shocked. KKTEBST is the 4th in the Dantalian rank. This is an old player with a degree of recognition almost like a professional. The number of stream viewers has clearly increased. The queen also praised the player for his good work. His abilities were much better than those of players at the same level. His rank is S, so the queen said goodbye to the guys and pointed to the exit. There was a devil who couldn't wait to meet them. The hotel is between the 6th and 7th floors and is dominated by the devil himself. This woman is in charge of floors 7 through 9, Belial. As soon as they entered, she smiled and greeted them. There is another feature. The inn is enchanted with overlapping spatial magic. Therefore, they will not be able to communicate with other players except as members of their party. It was a pleasure for her to meet the player Yun Ti Yong. She was just waiting for him. How did a woman know him? Knows that he is good because she has heard about him. In addition, she personally watched him pass through the 5th floor and hoped that he also performs well on her floor. She knows he's pretty exhausted coming up here. Oh, those treacherous steps of that queen. They'll start with a meal or a bath, or maybe an order. The girl pointed at something on the tablet. There were various items, all of them high-level items and artifacts. Even though they look like well-known items, they are just fakes. They can't even be half as good as the original. At lower levels, these items would be valuable and useful. She asked the girl what she would like to order, but the girl apologized. She didn't have enough money to buy an item for herself. The woman laughed at the money. She didn't need it. Items won't get by degrees, overcoming the challenges of the 7th floor. She'll just give it to them in advance. They'll be able to get the reward for the 7th floor before completing it, won't they? Since that's what the girl asked, wait, because she needs to think about it. They still have the whole night ahead of them, the girl chuckled. She asked if they needed one number or not. The magician started shouting that, of course, no, which surprised the hero. The woman is actually just joking, and she reacts so violently. The guy told her that he was going to sleep and not see her tomorrow. Then his girlfriend will turn it off, and he will be able to sleep in peace. The player entered the inn. His girlfriend expected this from the beginning, but the level of comments, you'll need to stop with it. It doesn't matter how much personal life Nakano has, many people won't give it a second thought until it concerns themselves. Even if it's the life of 1, 100, or 1,000,000 people. She closed her laptop, stretched, and considered hiring a manager. Now the average number of views of the guy reached 10,000 is approaching 50. And when they fought the berserker, that figure had increased to 100,000. All the people watched the heroes on the subway, on trips, at corporate events, and at home. This has become the most talked about topic, not only in Korea, but also around the world. As a result, this caused a surge in both provocative comments and messages unrelated to the game. She considered making the broadcast private. But no, the guy who's playing for his life on the line is desperate for the slightest hint. The girl turned her attention to her phone. Again, she received messages about lost people. In this game they asked her to find this guy. Phone numbers of streaming companies or internet streamers are sometimes shared. Most of them are protected and kept secret, but in some cases you can get contact information via email, through official websites, media accounts, and so on. These are contacts from the family of relatives who ask to save victims trapped in the game. Right now they are in the same state. The girl asks to wait a little longer. She sat and stared at the capsules of her sister and brother. Later, I got up, checked their condition, and changed their nutrients. When the hero was wounded during the battle, his moans came from the capsule. At times, when the pain was severe, the capsule rattled. His body connected to the game is also suffering a lot. Whether the guy can handle it all, he has to handle it. But no, he has to endure and hold on. The next day, the girl was very sleepy. The hero was already up. Why did she stay up all night? Did she make a decision? Not yet, but she needs to choose wisely. As soon as she makes a choice, then there will be no turning back. By the way, there aren't any legends here, are there? It's true that devils can't just give out legendary cards either, the woman said. Legendary cards are the most powerful in the game. According to official data, no user has ever had such a problem before. Commentators didn't even believe in their existence. The guy opened the list and began to choose. He noticed something and decided. The girl was also ready. Wonderface pointed them to the 7th floor door and wished them both good luck. The hero asked the girl which card she had chosen, and she pointed to the North Wind Crystal card. With it, she can summon an ice field. It's a mana freeze skill, isn't it? Frost has good mana here. She can use it. If you use this skill, won't it also be fatal for her? Wind magic uses mana to curb the wind. Freezing mana is a double-edged sword for such mages. However, at the same time, if there are reliable allies, it can become a strategically effective weapon. The girl coughed. The guy was surprised. But what about him? What card did he choose? The guy looked at the door and opened it, and then went to the 7th floor, but he did not answer. The girl greeted the man. Dantalian finally reached the 7th floor. He's here again today to watch the guy play, and it looks like he's a big fan, and she's really jealous. She's been watching him with great interest lately, and the 7th floor is the level where she rewards people with the Belial category. Just like that, let the man try to guess which card the hero has chosen. He looked at the list, thought about it, and said that he was sure that the guy had chosen this one. He was looking at the card with the clown on it. There was a man and another man sitting at the table. There's a crowd here, as if there's something to see on the 7th floor. He is the 62nd Devil Lord, Dragon King, Balrog. They greeted the man in the same way as the 56th Devil King, Chimeras. The man was glad to meet them, especially with the first one. These days you will not find him in the daytime with fire. The man just followed her because she was gone. The girl next to him had heard that he was quite famous, this player. So she crossed over to see what was going on with this Saiyan, who would soon be on her floor as well. They should focus on the screen. The hero's task will be to survive in the holy apocalypse. This scene reflects the invasion of fallen angels who once found themselves in the demon world. Now she understands why the other demon lords were so enraptured. Sharp sense of battle. This player is impressive. He seems to quickly grasp the essence of multiplayer battles. His ability to make a quick decision is also impressive, and maybe he has some skills. But with that being said, can a human handle a video game boss like a celestial being? The man offered to place a bet, even if he doesn't say it. He really liked this kid, right? That knight thinks that the rumor that a man robs devils through gambling didn't come out of nowhere, right? He was upset because it was just a little fun on a long journey through the maze. Or maybe his opponent was scared. This angered the man who arrived. Why did he suddenly decide so? It's annoying. Does he feel like the man is playing with him? So the answer is no. The woman turned to him because the man was acting quite strange recently. Why is he so strongly supporting this player? Another girl agreed with her, however, whether he was still from Earth. The man was surprised by such news. Dantalian made not a little effort to involve people from Earth as players of the spatial maze. What he got from the dimension through which he fell, with great effort, is at times heaps of garbage, so to speak. Through this human being, is he trying to prove that his efforts were not in vain? Ever since he transferred people from Earth to the man, he didn't like it. He slammed his fist down on the table. He makes a bet to fight. He likes all kinds of competitions, but there is one thing that he can't stand. And it's unfair if a man thinks that this new player would be like this without his handouts. After all, it is normal to promote someone who shows potential. The man replied to the man, doesn't he agree with him? The woman tried to stop them because they are about to kill all her supplies, but in fact let her calm down. The man's whole mood went wrong and he left. The girl decided to go after him. She apologized for him. He just has such a temper. But it's been so long since they've been together. Rage, this man is quite intimidating, even though the visitor ruined the mood, but he apologized for it. Together with the woman, they watched the fight. Two fists touched. The hero fought with someone else. Not bad at all. He should have seen this scene. Well, he'd watched the tape anyway, available to all devils. But the man meant something else, or rather the Balrog's face, as it would look at this moment. It would really be fun if there was a bet. But the man probably knows the player's strengths. The player has encountered the boss of the Sky faction, but the most important thing is not that. And the fact that they fully use their powers, that's what his trick is. Players, especially those from the ground, tend to be very weak. They do not get used to the power that is bestowed on them as they progress through the spatial maze. A player with a strength level of 10 could only maintain a level of 7 or 8. What happens is, when they reach the 20th level of reproduce, they are able to 12 or 13 of their strength. However, Yun Ti-Yong manages to master the 20th, 30th, and 40th levels. As achievements are accumulated, the card slots are filled, each one extending his abilities to the maximum. The guy uses them as if he was born with these skills. In this regard, it has no equal. Its adaptability is noticeably increasing. How is this possible? Spatial mazes are relentless, but if he survives, they constantly expand the boundaries of his existence. A man is familiar with testing his own limits. There is nothing more suitable for the design of a spatial maze. We see the 39th floor in the conflict zone. Other people fight monsters, some succeed, some don't. Why can't any of them log out? No one has a clue, but they'd better get rid of these orcs first. The guy asked them to stop, but the monster did not listen to him and continued to beat him. Everyone was on edge. The healers couldn't do anything, not even heal. Connections were interrupted, many players died, and others saw it. On the battlefield, their last healer had also died. This man was their only healer, and now they're even without him, and now they have a boss in front of them. The boys used a holy shield that protected them from everyone else. How your boyfriend jumped forward and held this shield and told no one to give up, but to stand up. It was Belrome, a rank 50 sacred tanker. He said that it's not over yet. The guys understand, but they don't have a healer. None of them will last much longer. He knew there wasn't a single doctor left, and they were all going to be killed at this rate. Well, there must be some solution he can come up with. He remembered the guy he'd seen back then. This level was connected to floor 36. If he used the king's technique, Ari didn't finish the sentence, but asked everyone to stand behind him. The monsters were running at them as fast as they could, and the girl was shouting that they were coming, but the guy wasn't paying attention. He raised his shield, thus delivering a certain blow that saved many of the people. It was as if they had fallen into the ground. They had moved from the 39th floor to the 37th floor. The monsters stopped at this hole and didn't jump down. They stayed at the top. This guy broke through the passage to the lower floor. Even here you can do that. The girl knew this because there was a way to go up and down from floor 37, so that was his goal. The guy flew down and was silent. He asked the mages to cast a water or wind spell to soften their landing. So, one old man did. He used his magic. But while the boy was flying towards him, a red letter flew up. This is probably a demon summoning. He opened the demon trial arena item and a paper poked out. It was written that their duel would be held under the demon's name. An item that allows the sender to send a threat or warning about an attack, regardless of the floor level who sent it. A small dragon landed on his finger in his hand, and the caller on floor 37 took his call. This someone was sitting on the finger of our hero. The girl told him that he could have chosen a rare card, but instead accepted the invitation. What was he thinking? He really needed this item. But this invitation is just an ordinary item that has no other function than a challenge to a duel. Moreover, it is one time. From the point of view of value, it does not go to any comparison with rare items. On the other hand, the guy can send it to anyone regardless of their location. This confirms that they are alive. So he gave up the chance to obtain a rare map to find out the location of that person. That's exactly how it was. The guy goes through this tower only to find one person, so he refused a rare map. She wonders who this man is that he is so desperate to find him. Maybe it's his beloved. The kind of person who would willingly sacrifice his own life for the beloved embodiment of romance. A ruthless guy who kills his enemies without a shadow of a doubt, she thought, and froze in place. One of the players was addressed by someone. It was a girl in a hat with horns. She greeted them on the elevator floor leading to heaven. There are 5 levels on this floor. This means that here they can jump to the next level based on the number of floors they have cleared. She asked the dear gambler what floor he wanted to go up to. Commenters began to say that they had already tried it. It is very difficult. The 2nd floor is its limit. Everyone said that these are very difficult tasks. Ordinary players choose the 1st or 2nd floor, and now they only have strategies up to the 3rd level. A friend told him not to try too hard. They can go to the 3rd one there. But the guy did not agree and pressed the number 5. He will go to the 5th floor. Apparently, the player was too hasty. Someone should stop him. Those eyes the girl thinks she knows are not the ones that believe in their own power. They are like an angry storm rushing towards its destination. That look of determination. A door opened in front of them. The interior was painted in shades of gray, and a human bird sat on a throne. The survivors will be able to gather at the tower. He laughed. The challenge for players was to defeat Alvir, the leader of the heavens. Well, said the girl, let the battle begin. The hero began to fight this boss. He deftly used all his skills. A lover she wants to save at any cost, even without sacrificing her own flesh and blood. To make a vow to someone who already belongs to someone, the girl must be crazy, completely crazy. She didn't believe that if he had only hinted to her earlier that he already had someone, the slightest hint would have been enough. Suddenly something flew at the girl. She was shouted what she was thinking all this time. Had she already forgotten her promise and was just going to stand there and watch the hero die? The girl was angry. What a shameless person. If she swore not to wind Playboy in death, but she would only help him because of one of her promises. She used a fair wind. The guy said that he relies on the girl, so he will break through. We see the magic rise up and form a ring over the people. The monster raised its staff and started twirling it in the air. It was the NPC Weaver. This is Max with a spear controlling the flame of the heavenly kingdom. He is called NPS. The accumulated energy surpasses the magic barrier in strength. The flame of the heavenly realm is a powerfully high-level magic. At least the player has an Aharon card that reduces magic damage, but it still affects him to some extent. The guy was already exhausted. He saw the same flame in his eyes. There was a fire around him and the whole house was ablaze. He remembered the moment when his house was on fire, when he and his sister were on the street and held her tight. Then he asked his dad to stop and not go inside. My sister then shouted after my brother not to follow my father because he asked. But all he did was pull his hand away and tell her to shut up. It was all her fault. If only she hadn't done something so. He'd told her he didn't want to eat ramen. He'd love it if she made it before he got here, wouldn't he? My sister thought, when she started cooking, someone had already come, so she ran to the door and completely forgot about cooking. So there was a fire. The guy then pulled out his hand and ran into the burning house. He was looking for his father, but he did not respond. There was a lot of smoke. This flame is too hot. When the guy looked up, the ceiling started to collapse. Then the house ran away, and the sister, he grabbed her. The girl cried very hard and tried to bring her brother to his senses. She confessed that it was all her fault. It was all her fault. When the fireman came to them and announced that there were 2 children here, he didn't see anyone else. Then it turned out that the fire in the building occurred as a result of arson. The attacker is still unknown and is wanted. The guy watched the news and blamed himself for the fire that day, regarded as the work of a criminal and not a mistake of her sister. It was his fault that she suffered a burn that left her scarred for life, scarred inside and out. Even when she was a baby, she ran, attacked and defended her brother. But he couldn't save anyone, not his father, not his sister, who was wounded for life. This time, he promised to save her because of this terrible game, no matter what it took. At this moment, the guy was pierced by the same monster Q. His girlfriend saw it and screamed, "They will wake up." The girl also noticed. Everyone was shocked, but the guy didn't give up. A determined look. Is she also one of the dead? However, there's nothing you can do about it, he told the monster. The guy is in the same position. Who is this guy? The monster wondered, holding her spear that's pierced into his chest. He shouted to the girl to send the wind to send it to the guy. Well, if she makes this flame, it will only make the wind direction even hotter. But he shouted at her to do as he said and as quickly as possible. She didn't know what he was thinking, didn't want to be burned alive, but she did as he asked anyway. What kind of wind thought this guy was a complete fool? It would only hasten his demise. The hero screamed in pain, in unbearable pain. What hope was there to burn with it? What kind of is this? Who does he think this flame belongs to? The monster thinks it's still possible to call it. The guy used a mechanism and won the flame over to him, a fast-forward mechanism. The monster's flames are spreading at an unbearable speed, so that's what this hero is up to. If this continued, the flames would simply consume him. But the boy still wasn't finished. There was a ghost behind him, and they had a mixture of wind and flame. He asked the ghost to help him figure out what to do about it. His clothes were burning because of the fire, which hurt terribly, but if it was affecting him, then he must be feeling bad too. The guy was screaming in pain, screaming and screaming, just like the monster itself. This arrogant man, he hurt his wings, the monster will think, only he wanted to finish him off by his own power. He made an irreparable mistake in his life by doing so. But the girl called the player the winner. She congratulated him on his victory. The guy's entire arm was burned, and he was using a readout card. The girl saw his determination. He was ready to put himself in any danger for the sake of his beloved. No matter how much she blamed him, she couldn't. She would just accept it as it was. The guy wondered what kind of favorite he was talking about. She swore by her wind that she would fall. Fate is already determined. This is simply outrageous for a wind mage. But still, when she promised, the boy was still in shock at the word love. Yes, the girl is the chosen one, and she has heard that he is climbing this tower to save his beloved. What is wrong? The guy was even a little afraid of what she was talking about. He didn't tell her that his sister was sitting in this tower. It doesn't matter. He asked me to help him up, and he can't feel his legs. Commentators looked at this interesting love story and were touched. But the girl then only turned around and left and did not help the guy. Then the girl told him why he was sitting there. It was already time for them to get into the elevator and beyond. Both of them should proceed towards the exit. In the elevator, the girl was angry with herself. This is not her lover, but his sister. That's a shame for her. Nevertheless, she is still happy. Why? What is she even saying? The guy didn't understand what was going on. Since he had managed the 5th level, then could he go up to the 5th floor? The assistant replied that this is exactly the case. But she doubts that before someone managed to overcome all 5 levels at once. She believes that there really is a reason why the demons pay special attention to him. He told his sister that this time he would not be the one to save her.